since 1968. For BYU, the starting five for Dave Rose, who's in his 13th season with 312 wins, 105 of them right here on BYU TV. TJ Haas, Jashir Hardnett, Elijah Bryant, Yoli Childs, who has been on a literal tear these last 5 or 6 games, and Luke Worthington, one of the veteran players on this BYU roster that does not have a senior on it. For Randy Ray, you see him right there with Dave Rose. These are two classic head coaches, and they have been around for a while. The two are combined for 544 career victories, 9 conference championships, 21 postseason tournaments, including 11 to the big dance, and 7 times they've been honored.
They don't have to guard it. When Yoli gets it, I suspect he'll get double teamed as well.
We are nearing tip-off. Game 1, Utah held off a rally from Utah State. That game went a little longer than expected, and so we're back just a little bit longer than expected. Brad Frary, Deldrick Carr, and Ryan Holmes are officiating crew as Weber State controls the opening tip.
BYU in man-to-man, which you would expect.
Harding, this is a 3. Jordan Dallas, his first 3 of the year. Sophomore out of Long Beach.
I can tell you this, the mentality of this team is that they're not nervous. They know that they're the underdog here, and they're going to play pretty relaxed. They'll play Worthington one-on-one in the post, make him make shots.
Worthington forces up the left hand, and Dallas brings it down. Dusty Baker, this is Harding. Sneaky good is how Randy Ray describes number 10. Baker up for 3. Weber State 2 for 2 out of the gate. Well, and they lead at 6-0.
BYU's game plan is to push them off the three-point line and contest those shots, and they've been 2 or 3 steps away from it. So they're going to have to pick it up defensively.
Hardnett way over to Haas. Now Childs has been known to stick the 3 just inside the NBA arc, and it's a 3-point shot for Hardnett, his 4th of the year, and BYU on the board. So there's the NBA 3, and then you get inside there's the college 3.
That will be an issue at times during the course of the game. Guys will get up there behind the black line thinking it's the college line. It can be pretty disruptive. It's a good thing when Jashir can step up, and probably the guy least likely to hit the first 3 in the game, and he knocks it down.
Harding trying to work past Hardnett. Offensive rebound, Weber State.
That can't happen. That can't happen. Not with the size BYU has inside.
Missed 3 by Harding. Now it's Haas on the run. Elijah Bryant playing his best basketball with ease, takes it off the glass. He's playing his best because he's healthy.
He is healthy, and that's been kind of his go-to move now. Get at the short corner, get at the wing, get to the rim. He can take a hit. Most of the time he's playing against smaller guards, but he's really become an effective, efficient scorer off the dribble.
Inside, Kozak out of the Czech Republic. Working Childs gets him off his feet. And a reach-in foul against BYU, and Bryant, that's his first.
Once he gets that edge, obviously the post, very poor defense by Weber State. There should have been help. He stayed with Yoli, didn't want to give the dunk up, and instead gave just a wide-open layup.
Michael Kozak, 6'8" freshman, with a lot of promise. Out of the Czech Republic, as mentioned, 3 for 6 from the free throw line. Hasn't been asked to do a lot of scoring this season.
But he plays 25 minutes a game, so he's been on the floor before. He's not nervous out there thinking he hasn't played. Great Euro move, step through right there to get to these 2 free throws as well.
Our scorebox sponsor is Brady Industries, a provider of commercial cleaning supplies and equipment. Weber State with the early lead here on the home of the Utah Jazz. 8-5. Childs, such a load for anybody down low. Up over Kozak, and he drops it in.
I'm surprised that they didn't come and double him or cover down on him and force the Cougs to shoot a 3. They can't play him one-on-one and expect him not to go for about 20 tonight.
Slicing to the basket, little contact. That doesn't get in the way of Dusty Baker. He's a senior with 5 points here in the early going.
Another young man that's been playing 24 minutes game. Even though he's not starting, he has played a lot of minutes this year.
Childs waits for Hardnett. Gets him the ball. Bryant top of the key. Eli's got it. Worthington working down low, and Bryant backs it out. Shot clock under 10. Eli runs through everybody, leaves it for Childs, and Yoli has it off the iron. Bryant pulls it back with a fresh 30 on the shot clock.
I like the ball in Yoli Bryant's hands at the end of the shot clock because he draws attention defensively. Nice pass off to Yoli. He just didn't finish it.
Childs for 3. That one's just inside the NBA arc.
That's what I'm talking about. He was about a foot and a half behind.
High arcing 3 by Baker. Back we come. Yoli running the floor. Haas had a big game the other night. 20 points, a season high. They got him some early looks and got him going. We'll see if they go to that same recipe here tonight.
Well, Randy Ray's defense is always defensively very tough-minded players.
Hardnet's fouled. Dallas got him at 6'10". Hardnet challenged him at 6 feet, which might be an exaggeration. It takes us to a timeout. That's the first foul.
FordNow.com.
Special time of year in downtown Salt Lake City. Game 2 of the first ever Beehive Classic. Weber State by 3. Jashir Hardnet at the free throw line. Hits his first. He's now 12 of 13 on the year from the free throw line. Spencer.
Dave, Coach Cleve called it. BYU giving up 2 3-pointers in the first 5 minutes was much to the chagrin of Dave Rose and assistant coach Heath Schroyer. It really got after their team and said, look, we're down because we're not playing. You got to have some urgency. Really want to guard that 3-point line. So watch for the increased defensive pressure outside. Dave?
Thanks, Spencer. Hardnet now with 5 points to lead the Cougars. BYU still looking for their first lead in a 10-9 game. Baker dishing down low. Kozak kicks it back out, now calls for it. He goes to work against Childs. Loses the ball to Worthington. Now the Cougars come, hunting their first lead of the night. Bryant waits for Yoli. Up top, Worthington. Haas back to Worthington. One-hander, too strong. Baker on the rebound for Weber State.
Weber State did a great job defensively, staying in front of their man.
And Baker can't get it to go. Yoli bringing it down. Haas back to Childs. Wheels, deals, and can't convince the ball to go over. Foul on the play, fighting for the rebound. This is going to go against Weber State. Jordan Dallas.
Right there pushing the back. These early fouls, you don't notice them. They don't seem that significant right now with this much time in the game. But really what this puts in play is the guys that haven't been playing this year. Guys that have only played 3 or 4 minutes in a game. Pretty soon they're going to be in the first half of a ball game if they haven't been in all year.
Inbounds play. Bryant.
Great execution. One of the things Coach Rose takes great pride in is scoring and out-of-bounds plays. And BYU's always, for as long as I've watched BYU, always been pretty good at scoring on out-of-bounds plays.
Saw Jordan Dallas go to the bench with his second foul, and Ricky Nelson, a freshman from Houston, checking in. Harding challenging Bryant.
That's a big-time move. Use his body, extended left hand. He's going to have to really take over. There aren't many people on the floor right now that can actually score, so he's going to have to really be aggressively looking for his shots.
He's got his first 2. Zach Selyus into the game for BYU. No Dalton Nixon tonight. He's out. He's got a boot on his foot, so we won't see him. Harding and Hardnet. And Harding lays it in. Now with 4, Weber State back to a 3-point lead.
Got to be impressed with Weber State's toughness right now. They were not going to allow Yoli to get into the paint and dish or kick. He had to pass it quickly back out.
Shout out to their football team last night. Lost a heartbreaker to #1 ranked James Madison in the FCS playoffs as Selyus gets his first 2.
I like the fact that Selyus took an inside shot or got to the free throw line before he starts shooting threes. Gives you much more confidence when you hit an early easy one, and then the next shot he takes probably will be a 3.
Now Bryant assigned Harding. Harding moving past everybody. Goes up and over. Yoli Childs. Now is 6. Jarek Harding, a sophomore out of Wichita, Kansas.
Slippery. That's what Coach called him, slippery. And there's a perfect example of that.
3-point lead. There's another slippery fella.
Unfortunately, defensively, he's going my bad. He just stood up. Hardnett went right by him.
Hardnett was 7. His season high is 10 against UMass, so he's well on his way to a career night in his first season at BYU. Baker hands it over to Harding. Harding gets past the defender. Enough room to put up a shot. Out of bounds. Off of Kozak. And it'll be BYU basketball as McKay Cannon checks in for the first time tonight.
Randy Ray should be pretty upset about that because that was a Weber State ball.
This a
nice
moment
finish.
ago.
Up and around, a little lefty.
Harding lays it in.
I've always felt that left-handers had a little bit of an advantage in baseball, tennis, and basketball.
Spoken from a true left-hander.
Yes.
So McKay Cannon will run the point for BYU as Haas way outside drops a 3, his first bucket of the night. BYU with their largest lead.
Had a breakout game last game after going 0 for 10, and he took that with no question he was going to shoot that ball.
He was 3 feet beyond the NBA three-point line. Here's Nelson. Kozak open for 3. Childs brings it down. Cougars getting into a bit of a groove.
You'll notice Weber State for the most part. Now maybe with TJ since he just hit that big one outside, but they're playing inside the three-point line for the most part.
Bad pass by Sellius, stolen away. Here's Harding. Kicks it back out, an open 3, an air ball. Trevon Ary-Turner's first shot as he checks into the game. Cannon has it stolen away, and Sellius steals it right back. Bryant from the corner for 3. 7 points for Bryant. BYU's lead is 5.
Great pass, got his feet squared, shoulder squared. Such a good three-point shooter when his feet are square.
Offensive foul against Weber State. This is against Michael Kozak. And that takes us to a timeout. Shooting 62% from the field. Leading 21-16 with 11:05 to go here in the first half. Cougars have the basketball.
Got 4 three-point shooters out there. And Worthington, I suspect they might put a little more pressure outside with Worthington in the post and not Yoli Childs. They can afford to help a little more.
Here's Worthington, back to Bryant. In the corner, Haas for 3. Baker on the rebound for the Wildcats.
It'll be a little easier for Weber State to match up defensively with Yoli out of there because they can extend and switch. We'll see how this develops for BYU and how they attack it.
So what's it like for McKay Cannon in there playing against the team he played for against BYU last season, and now he is taking on the Wildcats as a BYU Cougar, and there he nearly forces the turnover. Now BYU will get the basketball. Well, this is an interesting night for Cannon.
It is, and there's mixed emotions because he's got friends on this team. He's got people that he played with and went through tough practices with. But I think the most important thing for him to do is just play within himself. He has nothing to prove here. Play within the system. Shots come, take them. But don't overthink this thing because emotionally it is a little tough for him.
Bryant backs it out. Here's Cannon. 10 minutes to play here in the opening half. Haas back to Cannon for 3, and he's got it. Buries the shot. He's now 4 of 7 shooting threes. Became eligible just last week against Utah Valley. Had a big game against Utah State last Saturday. Scored 17 points. And that 3 has a BYU on an 11-0 run. And their largest lead of 8.
McKay has also really committed himself the last 6 months to improving his game, working on his shot, and he's a different player right now than he was at Weber State.
What a shot by Harding with Bryant right in his face. Harding now with 8. Harding and Chapman, there are guys to build on in this program for Randy Ray, but no Chapman tonight. We got a foul on BYU's Luke Worthington, setting an illegal screen, his first.
You see the athleticism here and just the slipperyness we talked about, using his body to get the shot off. he's 6'1", weighs $170, and he's going against 6'5", 220, so 210. Just a really, really creative, efficient scorer.
Hard to imagine better defense from Bryant.
No, he did a great job.
Couldn't stop it. Nelson leaves it for Baker. They'll put Cannon now on Harding. Nelson deep in the corner. Cougars want to travel. They're not going to get it. Here's Harding over Cannon. Childs up high for the rebound.
Now we'll see a different look now with Yoli back in the game.
Hawes quickly up for three. That one's too strong, and Harding brings it down.
I'm not sure the coaching staff's in love with that particular shot.
Baker.
Stop, come down and score. We got Yoli in the game. Get it back inside.
Ary-Turner now with it, hands it back to Baker. From the baseline. And ary-Turner hits his first. He's another freshman out there for Randy Ray.
He's been really inconsistent. I watched Weber State play Fresno State about a week and a half ago, and he really struggled. He couldn't make a basket, so it's good to see him knock that thing down. Good for his confidence.
Cannon, another three. He's 2 for 2. 6 points for McKay Cannon.
They're going to have to get somebody else guarding McKay Cannon than ary-Turner, the freshman. Now, there'll be a lot more threes coming. We need a veteran player.
Here's Harding. Dallas back in with those 2 fouls, but Weber State needs some size. Rebounding has not been their strength, and with the 2 6'9" guys out, it's not tonight.
They only got a piece.
Hawes, everybody up off their feet. Cougars turn it over.
Just bad spacing. Great attack, great opportunity to shoot an early shot, but the spacing was really poor. 3 guys in the paint. Just brings on more help defense.
Harding had 8 points last year at BYU. Here he goes in looking for 2. Now he's got 10 already here tonight.
They're going to have to do something a little bit different. Maybe bring another guard at him, bring a big. You don't have seasoned veteran shooters at Weber State. You can get off 2 or 3 of these players and focus on the point guard there.
Cannon out to Hawes, open for 3. TJ buries it. That was 6. BYU's lead back to 8.
Randy Ray's game plan was to make him shoot the 3 early on in an arena where they hadn't been playing.
This was a rematch. The year before, if you remember, BYU went into Tucson and beat Arizona by 30 on their home floor behind Jimmer Fredette. And they came back here with a year to prepare, and Jimmer did it to him again. That game was live on BYU TV. What a night.
You know, Arizona had huge expectations this year themselves and seemed to be getting it back a little bit, but they've struggled early on with a lot of All-Americans.
Driving to the basket, getting some contact goes Ary-Turner. He draws a foul, and we'll go to the free throw line as Luke Worthington picks up his second. For more on Cannon, here's Spencer.
It's become apparent that McKay Cannon is not afraid of jawing at opposing players and opposing teammates, or whether it's in practice and now fans. There were some Weber State fans really laying into McKay Cannon when he took that first shot, and he met him, he looked at him, he smiled and winked. Same thing happened on the opposite side of the floor. He's locked in and ready to compete against his former team.
Thanks, Spencer. Over 2 seasons, he played in 67 games, including 40 starts for the Wildcats. Started as a freshman. They won the Big Sky Championship, went to the Big Dance. He scored 10 points against Xavier. And Dave Rose had an interesting take on Cannon as we visited with him. He said, you know, typically a kid comes in, he learns the first 2 years and leads the last 2. We got a guy who arrived ready to lead. And indeed he has.
Well, he's had a huge impact on this team, and he just stretches the defense. It opens things up for their post play, and he passes the ball well. There's very little that he doesn't do a pretty good job of.
Hardnett passes on the 3, looks for 2. Baker brings it down for Weber State.
Solid job defensively by Weber State there. BYU went side to side 2 or 3 times.
Baker's wild on the spin. Here come the Cougars again. Hardnett leaves it for Sellius, open for 3.
That's a good transition. Feet squared, ready to go. Hardnett made a great pass.
Selja's 13 of 37. Just below 36% shooting threes. Back from his LDS church mission and still trying to find his stroke.
Defensively, BYU's picked it up a ratchet here.
Kozak up over Bryant. It's Cannon on the rebound. Haas lobs for Selja's. And a foul on Weber State. Zach needed some room coming down, and Dusty Baker got in underneath him. And that's the first foul on Baker.
You know, those shots that Kozak is taking, he's open. And there's a reason he's open. You know, and maybe one more pass, go set a ball screen, get back inside. Weaver cannot settle for threes by their bigs on the perimeter.
Childs trying to draw a foul, puts up a wild shot, and Baker brings it down. Just joining us, Zach Braxton and Brakat Chapman not playing tonight for Weber State. Chapman averages 14. Braxton averages 11 and 7 rebounds. Childs, a late whistle and a foul that will send Yoli to the free throw line. And it will go against Kozak, his first.
Probably got him a little bit on the head with the left hand because he went vertical. There's no foul with the body, but probably the left hand. I'm not sure that's a great call, but Yoli will take the 2 free throws.
Johns is 64% from the free throw line. He scored 10 last year against Weber State.
Randy Ray's having that discussion with the official right now as they watch it on the Jumbotron. And the official disagreed with him.
Now, when you coaches argue with officials and say, hey, why don't you look up there at the Jumbotron, you'll see you're wrong. Do they ever look?
You know what? They're smart, they don't.
I wouldn't look either.
Because that clearly should have been a no call.
Haas is out, Bryant's back in.
Yoli is in a little bit of a hurry here.
Misses both free throws.
He's just been impatient. He's let it come to him. Weber's done a good job. Weber State's done a really good job of being physical inside. But Yoli, they're not doubling him. They're not. And there's no kind of double or monster. Just needs to be a little more patient.
Yoli is 1 for 5 from the field and 0 for 2 from the free throw line. 3-point shot by Ryan Richardson is off. There's enough Aggie and Utah fans still in the building to rally behind Weber State's cause. All they need is something to unify. Big three-pointer or a dunk, but so far it hasn't happened. Childs, speaking of dunks, chucks it down there for his 4th point. And BYU's largest lead of 9.
Way more patient. That was all due to McKay Cannon setting it up, not being in a hurry. And Yoli has a huge advantage inside if they'll just take their time.
Harding. Smooth southpaw. 12 points now for Jarek Harding.
All 3 BYU guards turn and look to the bench. It's like, what are we supposed to do?
Just keep scoring on the other end, I guess.
Yeah. No. Jarek Harding is he's going to score tonight. I'm afraid that it's just going to be not enough.
Selja's loses the ball out of bounds. Takes us to a timeout. 32-25 BYU. Yoli Childs making his presence felt down low here on BYU.
All of a sudden, you know, Colette's not in the game, Barfield's not in the game, and they make a game of it. And there's a lot to be said about confidence, especially on a neutral court.
We'll see the Utes a week from tonight in Provo. BYU and Utah. The Cougars can win tonight. We'll call it the state championship. The 2 winners of this Beehive Classic will face each other in a week. 14 points
this
now
young
for
man,
Harding.
He is putting on a show. I mean, every layup he's made has been body contact involved. He got such control of his body, and he's able to finish.
Cannon lobs for Childs. Turns it over. 5-point game. Here is Mr. Excitement, Harding. Yoli on the rebound. Most of his buckets have come by attacking the basket.
They have. You know what? I don't mind him shooting that shot, but probably take another 8 or 9 seconds off the shot clock. They're at a disadvantage in terms of good call there.
There'll be a block, and that's against Dusty Baker. That's his 2nd.
What doesn't make sense defensively is when you foul when the ball is going away from the basket.
Harding scored 14 of the last 17 points for Weber State. if they could find another score on a night like tonight, they could be in some business.
And most of the players on the floor just have not had that opportunity to play that many minutes.
Haas passes on the 3, drives in for 2, and bounces it in.
Good decision, really good decision. He would have rushed the 3, put it on the floor, finished it, took a little hit with the body.
8 points here in the first half for TJ Haas. Baker with it, picked up by Bryant. Gets past him, but Yoli's there. Kozak on the offensive board.
Nice job by Kozak. Yoli just turned his head.
Richardson left open, and he knocks it down. His first bucket of the game.
Ryan Richardson is a 40% three-point shooter. I mean, he's the one we haven't been talking about. He's averaging 12 a game. He and Harding really need to score most of the points on the floor right now.
Cannon hands it over to Bryant. Under 90 seconds to play here in this first half. Now Hardnett driving baseline. Throws it away.
Great job defensively.
Baker for 3. Now it's Childs on the run. BYU having a hard time hanging on to the basketball. Well, the mistake knocks it out of bounds.
The first thing Yoli Childs should do is once he crosses half court, unless they have a real advantage, right there, again, they're not pushing them off the line. BYU, one of the real keys to this game was to push them off the line, and they're 2 or 3 feet behind on the catch.
Riley Court checks in for the first time. Another freshman for Randy Ray. And Jordan Baker, or Dusty Baker rather, will go out. BYU by 4 with 1:03 to play here in the first half. Into Childs. He's been kind of MIA as the Cougars have attacked from the outside. Yoli gets his 6th point is all. Under a minute to go.
And they're not doubling him. They'll come down late, but he'll have opportunities. This team needs to be a little more patient offensively if they don't have it in transition.
Get the feeling that will be the emphasis coming out to start the second half is into Yoli.
Into Yoli and defend the 3.
Harding going to work some clock here. BYU should have plenty of time for a possession after this as Harding wheels and deals, swoops in, lays it in. Now the shot clock is off. Harding with 16, and BYU will settle for the final shot of the half.
That's going to be another point of emphasis. Someone's going to have to come and give help. Come off one of these players that has not played, whoever is on the floor that hasn't played a lot of minutes, come off him and make someone else beat you. But don't let it be Harding taking that shot.
We'll talk to Dave Rose in a moment. Haas loses his footing. It's stolen away. Richardson as time expires. And a gutsy first half performance by Weber State. We arrive at halftime with BYU in the lead 36-32. And Spencer is with head coach Dave.
Minutes. BYU's way too good. Very, very talented. We just got to keep doing what we're doing. 20 more minutes. Compete our butts off.
Coach, thanks for the time.
Thanks.
Spencer, thank you. A shout out to the BYU women's basketball team defeating Utah earlier today on BYU TV this afternoon. And Jeff Judkins picking up another victory for BYU. Second half play begins at Vivint Arena. Zach Seljaas in the starting 5 here to start the second half. Seljaas with the ball, working Kozak. Hardnett into the lane, has to go up high to get it in there, and Jashir Hardnett now the leading scorer for BYU with 9 points.
I like the adjustment that BYU's made. They put Seljaas at the 4, stretch it. It's going to open it up for Yoli, also open it up for penetration.
Here's Richardson. You mentioned he needs to be the hot hand for Weber State, and he misses his first shot of the second half.
Coming out of a half, you look for coaches and adjustments. I don't think Weber's going to make a lot of changes, but I think BYU is going to do a couple of things, and that would be that right there, attack and penetrate, and open the floor. And then out here, down here defensively, see how they contest the 3. And really, what are they going to do to stop Jarek Harding? Who's going to come off and give some help?
8 points now for Yoli Childs. Dallas hands it over to Harding. Puts it up quickly, drops in his first 3. Hit missed all 3 long balls in the first half. Gets his first one to go. He's at 19 of Weber State's 35 points.
Good defense by Hardnett. I mean, he was right there in his face. He just made a play.
And this is on Seljaas.
I think over a period of time, with this lineup on the floor for BYU and they open the floor, they'll more consistently score down low. Yoli will have his way there. And he'll open up shots for the threes as well.
Harding. This is Richardson. And a step by Jordan Dallas. You could tell he was trying to feel where Yoli was back there and took the step as Yoli was a little further behind him. Our halftime essentials are brought to you by Emergency Essentials. For over 30 years, helping people prepare at BePrepared.com. Emergency Essentials. A look back at the keys for BYU.
Well, defending the three-point shot, they've done a solid job. 4 for 15. That's a nice job against Weber State. They haven't really established an inside presence. I think they're going to do that playing 4 out right now.
Childs has it stolen away by Baker. And Harding with the right hand rattles it in for his 21st point. And the lead is down to 3.
Yoli, when he gets it in the post, you can't just take a lazy dribble. That's what he did, and they came from behind.
In they go to Yoli. Leaves it short.
He needs one more dribble to get it to the rim. He's just kind of settling for that little 6 and 7 footer. He can take one more dribble and power it up. At least get the foul.
Kozak waiting for Harding. Dallas. Now it's Baker. Shot clock's at 7 and a turnover. Childs throws it too far for Hardnett. BYU turns it back over.
That's 2 turnovers. 2 turnovers in transition. Good finish, takes it to the rim. There's not much you can do there. Because he can go left, he can go right. Yoli Childs does not need to be delivering passes in transition. He needs to get it to a guard and let somebody else take it.
Richardson. Kozak hands it over to Baker. Right back to Kozak. Gets around Seljas and Childs. He's got 4 and the lead is 1.
He was the X factor that we talked about. Can he step up and make baskets?
You wonder if BYU just exhaled a little bit too much when they found out that Chapman and Braxton weren't playing tonight.
I think there's always, especially early in a game, there's a letdown. And these aren't the guys we prepared for.
Baker. And the Wildcats are in the lead. That brings the arena to life. Weber State on a 9-0 run. And a 41-40 lead with 16 earlier today. 77-67. BYU 2-0 against in-state foes. Weber State's 1-1. They got pounded at Utah Valley back on Wednesday.
Let's see if BYU comes out of this timeout with a bit of a sense of urgency, of execution, going side to side, getting a good shot, and then coming down and getting a stop.
Childs is out of the game. Worthington back in. Seljas matched up with Kozak. Back to Eli.
We were doing a great job defensively on Eli when going to the basket.
Bryant steps back behind the line, buries a 3, and Eli's got 10.
Big basket for BYU coming out of the timeout. We were talking earlier, Lou, just about the sense of urgency when you know their two of their 3 players, are not going to play, and you've been preparing for them, and they played like that. They just kind of played like they're going through the motions.
Baker to answer for 3. That crawls out. Now it's Haas. Seljas kicks back. Haas open for 3 more.
Well, that's called responding out of a timeout. Making an extra pass, making another extra pass. Seljas could have easily taken that shot, but he gave it up.
TJ now with 11. BYU back to a 5-point lead, 46-41. Richardson driving on Worthington. Now it's Baker. He'll try the right side. Fancy footwork and a dish. But Dallas can't finish it.
Great pass. Too bad he didn't finish there. It was right there at the rim.
Bryant. Here's Cannon. BYU will slow it down when they're set play.
Just move the ball. Move the ball. The coach talked about the ball getting sticky early on. They just got to keep moving it side to side. They'll get the shot they want.
This is the difference from the BYU team a year ago, what we're seeing right here. You slow it down, run a set play, get an open shot. Bryant off the front end.
They ran a set there. I'm not sure that was the set they were looking for, but it was short in the shot clock.
I think pacing would probably be the word to best describe the difference from this year's team as compared to years past.
No question. I mean, in the last 3 years, BYU has obviously played with pace, but they played with pace and ended up taking inappropriate shots early on in the shot clock. Now, out on the dribble, there's a sense of urgency at both ends, too, defensively. I mean, tonight, I don't think they've played great defensively, but over the course of the 9 games they've played, they are
3 to go here the second half. And Spencer, you just listened into that BYU huddle. What'd you learn?
Well, the reiteration that BYU needs to move the ball from side to side in their half-court offensive sets. They have been so much more successful when they do so. As you look at Eli Bryant get to the hoop and get fouled, but what they want to see is ball movement. I mean, it is exponentially better when BYU goes from side to side at least one time on their half-court possessions. And Coach Cleve talked about that on BYU Sports Nation.
60%. When they turn it over 2 to 3 times side to side, they're shooting 60% field goal percentage. So I love this out-of-bounds play. An ISO at the top of the key, no help. Missed the layup, but
Tuesday night, BYU basketball with Dave Rose, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Coach will preview the showdown with Utah 1 week from tonight. Don't miss it. Tuesday night at 8 Eastern on BYU TV. That foul on Ricky Nelson, his first. Bryant getting 1 of 2 from the stripe, and Eli has 11 in a 7-0 BYU run.
Weber State needs to come out of this timeout and find a way to get to the free throw line or score.
Here's Harding. Cannon assigned to Harding. Let's see how that goes. Now it's Nelson. Richardson from deep in the corner. Knocks it down.
Great execution. This is a 40% three-point shooting team when everybody's playing. And good patience. Cross-court pass in the corner. Wide open.
Richardson, a senior out of Chandler, Arizona. Makes it a 3-point game. In the corner, Seljaas to answer back. That extra pass from Bryant to Seljaas, and Zach's got 5.
You know, TJ was open, Elijah was open, and Seljaas shot it. That's the difference in this team this year and last year.
Harding now trying to shake Cannon and Worthington. Kozak stolen away by Haas. And TJ lays it in. 13 now for Haas. And Randy Ray, sensing a momentum shift, calls it timeout.
BYU made an adjustment coming out of that
Dunk. First dunk of his career. It wasn't pretty, but it was recorded as a dunk. And so we're seeing a little bit more from the repertoire of this sophomore out of Alpine, Utah. First team all-conference performer last year as a freshman in the West Coast. Picked to do it again here in the preseason poll as Harding swoops in past Cannon. Beautiful entry pass.
Great pass by Kozak. Nice hard back door. And that's what BYU has to overplay in that situation. Just there's no help.
23 for Harding. Bryant steps inside the arc, now backs it out up top. Shot clock's at 10. Cannon's hiding out in the right corner. Now he comes up top, and he's got it from Seljaas. Shot clock's at 2. Cannon's got to go up off balance, and it's off target.
Great job defensively by Weber State. Had to play defense the whole possession.
Kozak fouled by Bryant on the reach-in.
Coaches aren't going to be happy about that watching film. BYU just kind of jogging down the floor.
Second foul on Bryant. Harding continues a 6-game homestand next Saturday against Arkansas Pine Bluff. We get Pepperdine at the WCC at home as well. For BYU, it's all about Utah next Saturday night. And if you look at the roster, Steve, between BYU and Utah, there's only 3 kids on the roster that ever played in that rivalry. Van Dyke for Utah and Seljaas and Worthington for BYU. And so there'll be plenty of times next week when 5 Cougars and 5 Utes are out there on the floor, and they've never faced each other in this rivalry.
That hasn't happened very often during the history of this. Those 2 schools playing each other.
Amazing how the rosters can turn over after you miss just 1 year. Yoli Childs back into the game after a brief sit down. Cannon hands it over to Seljaas. Back to Cannon, up for 3. Fight for the rebound. Let's see who is off of. And it'll be awarded to Weber State. Although Yoli is awarding it to BYU. Now he's fine. He's heading down the other way.
I am so impressed with Weber State's effort here. Not just on this particular play because it was off of Yoli, but because of 25 seconds on the shot clock. It was clearly off Yoli's right leg.
5-point game. Backdoor cut denied, so they'll try it again. Up top, Nelson. Kozak. This is Richardson. Hit a 3 a moment ago. This is a 2 just inside the arc. So Richardson heating up. He's got 8.
BYU got lost defensively there. Shear coming back in to bring kind of a defensive presence from the guard line.
Haas draws some contact. And a foul before the shot on Richardson. This a moment ago.
No guard guarding him initially on the dribble. Yoli had to come out and throw a hand up, so there was obviously a mix-up between whose man was who.
Hartnett checks in, and somebody's got to check out. The Cougars have 6 on the floor, and now Cannon will come out. A little miscommunication. 10:58 to play. Selyus, nice dish from Childs, and Zach in with his 7th point.
You have to give something up. When you come and double Yoli or cover down, somebody's going to be open, and made an outstanding pass.
Richardson hands it over to Harding. Harding's been kind of quiet the last few minutes. BYU defending him with Hartnett. Harding goes up, and a whistle and a foul. He'll go to the line.
Out of bounds play, high-low, gets the catch. He comes over and helps, and immediately he's wide open.
That foul before the shot on Hartnett, his first, and so Weber State gets it out of bounds with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Yoli slaps it out of play. Our scorebox sponsor is Brady Industries. Brady Industries is a provider of commercial cleaning supplies and equipment. Dave Rose, look of concern. BYU 7-2, 4-1 away from the Marriott Center. 312 victories, 60 short of passing Stan Watts as the all-time leader at BYU. Richardson misses on the 3. Long arms of Yoli bringing in the rebound. Childs has 7 rebounds. Haas flips it up there. Richardson brings it down. Now it's Nelson. From the corner for 3, and Harding's off.
Great look, good ball movement.
Bryant too strong on his attempt. Back we come the other way. And it's Harding looking for a lane to the basket. He loses his footing. Richardson for 3. Here comes Bryant. An exhausting pace now from both. Collision and an offensive foul. Eli picks up his 3rd.
I like Eli's aggressiveness, but the pace of this game is missed shots, and he's just out of control. His intentions were good, but just out of control. Good call by the officials.
Bryant will come out. Cannon's back in. 5-point game. 9:35 to go.
BYU very fortunate to have a lead right now. Those last 3 threes have had no one around them. Been wide open. A little bit of fatigue could be a factor too here. Played almost over 30 minutes. They've played a lot of minutes, and some of these players have used to playing 6 or 7 minutes.
Nelson kicks it back up. Kozak passes on the 3, opts for 2. Childs on the rebound.
Had another good look.
Selyus up with a quick 3. Nelson on the rebound.
It's exactly what Weber State wants, for BYU to come down and take a quick 3.
There's Harding and Hartnett. Now it's Cannon. Left hand jumper. And he has cooled off, certainly in the second half. Exerted a lot of energy in the first half.
I think fatigue is a factor here.
Kozak working on Childs. Whistle and a foul. This will be on Selyus. Zach picks up his first. Selyus looks like he had a fight with his barber, and the barber won.
you know, I'm looking at Weber State players, and 3 of them had their, you know, their both hands on their thighs, just kind of bending over, and they've had to log a lot of minutes, and that could be the difference in this game, because they're in a position right now, a couple of baskets, and all of a sudden a lot of doubt can come into BYU, and there's a lot more pressure on BYU in this game than there is on Weber State.
Kozak makes it a 4-point game.
Richardson coming out for probably 39 seconds for the TV timeout.
Ary-Turner back in for Weber State. This is an impressive performance from Weber State when you consider Utah Valley on Wednesday. They got beat 83-56. Hardly even competed in that game.
Well, and again, a couple of injuries there they were without players for significant periods of time too, but they've really prepared themselves.
Here's Haas to Sellius. Zach recovers, drops it in, now with 9.
TJ gets the lane, he gets in. All of a sudden, when TJ can get into the paint like that, they've kind of come help, and that's an easy layup.
Nelson hands it over to Harding, and Hartnett takes it right away from Harding. Jashir up for 2. He's got 11, and a season high now for Jashir Hartnett.
Tough young man. He competes. That's, you know, he was brought here to handle the ball and run the point, but really he's the best defender on the perimeter on this basketball team.
Just a sophomore out of Gulfport, Mississippi. Baker. Lane opens up. Childs moves over. And Baker gets it to go anyway. Baker's had a good week. 14 Wednesday at Utah Valley. He's got 9 tonight. Now Hartnett slows it down. Cannon goes into Childs. Awfully tough to stop down there. And the foul will go against Dallas. That'll send Yoli to the free throw line. Dallas picks up his 3rd. Takes us to a timeout. 7:20 to go. It's a 5-point.
Confidence right now, and as for what they want to do against BYU, they want, exactly as Coach Cleve said, to let them have the 3-point shot. They'll leave that open all night long. Dave?
Thanks, Spencer. Childs at the line. Randy telling us in our conversation yesterday, he loves this team. He says they work hard at practice every day. Not every team does that.
No, they don't.
Because this group does.
Games like this are going to really make his team better come conference play, because they're getting valuable minutes, and now when they come in off the bench, they have more confidence. So this experience for Weber State, win or lose, is going to make them a better team.
59-53. Yoli 1 for 2 at the line. Harding stolen away by Haas. TJ quickly ahead of Richardson. Up for 2, and Haas now at 15. That's 35 points this week for TJ Haas, who came in ice cold.
And he's become a better defender. His anticipation skills have improved. He plays tougher on defense, and it creates offense for him. That's his 3rd steal.
Richardson now challenging Haas. Fading away. Dropping it in there. Double figures for Richardson, now at 10. No Dalton Nixon tonight. Mentioned him along with the 2 Weber State Wildcats who are out, as Haas forces it up, and Baker brings it down. Richardson. Offensive rebound. Put back. And it's Harding for 2 more. He's got 25. And the lead is back to 4 as we arrive at 6 minutes to play here at Vivint Arena.
These possessions now become really, really important. The execution of both ends by both teams.
Cannon hiding out in the corner. Hartnett hands him the ball.
We were doing a nice job on Yoli on the high side.
Back to Haas. Shot clock's at 6. This is Sellius. Turnaround. Baseline shot. Zach's fouled. And he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
One of the advantages that Zach Sellius has as a 4 is that he can stretch defenses by shooting the 3. But he's also very clever in the low post, and he can elevate at 6'8". Such a good shooter. Gets fouled there.
3rd foul on Dusty Baker. Zach's 83% on the season from the free throw line. BYU has been very good.
They have.
Crunch time at the line. We'll see if that holds up as we get a little bit closer to it, but they've left a number of shots at the stripe tonight. They're just 4 of 9.
most coaches are more comfortable playing 4 perimeter players in a big. And when you have everybody who can shoot the ball, it puts a lot of pressure. The negative there is whether or not you can defend that position at the 4. But right now, Weber State's gone small, so it's not going to be a problem for Sayers to have to guard a big.
Double figures now for Zach with 10.
Hartnett doing a great job denying the ball.
Here's Richardson into the corner. 3 ball open and in for Ary-Turner. He's got 5. It's a 2-point game. Randy Ray up off the bench, motivating his troops.
Like we talked, you know, we knew Harding has to do what he has to do. They've taken the ball out of his hands the last 2-3 possessions. Other guys have stepped up.
Now it's Cannon. Childs, contact, no whistle. Kozak brings it down. It's been a frustrating night for Yoli.
It is. He just needed to take his time and gather himself, and then put the ball on the floor.
Ary-Turner hit the 3 a moment ago. He goes down with the ball and takes it out of bounds. Costly Weber State turnover. Last time down the floor. Good ball movement. Ary-Turner buries the 3 from the corner.
Contested and everything. There's a young man that hasn't played many minutes on the year. Step up and hit a big shot like that at a very meaningful time during the game.
2-point BYU lead. Offensive foul on Bryant. Richardson took one for the team, and Eli picks up his 4th. That right in front of Dave Rose. He can't believe it.
He's moving laterally. You could make a point that that's probably not a charge, but he pushes forward, and Richardson, does a pretty good acting job there and gets the call. I just don't know that they need to try to score on the first side. Move it, get the same shot, and you won't have that much extended defense.
Eli takes a seat with 4 fouls. Richardson for the lead. Bryant up there.
It's a guy you want shooting the ball, coming right off. He's got the hot hand.
Randy Ray, I think, jumped 3 feet on that shot right in front of us as he thought that was in there. He yelled good shot after it missed. Now it's Hartnett. And Hartnett's fouled by Harding. And that'll be the 2nd on Jarek Harding. Takes us to a timeout. 3:59 to go. 62-60.
And they haven't let the game come to them. That's what's made them different this year. Made them difference makers. They need to slow down, get their composure, and finish here.
BYU basketball. 20 seconds on the shot clock.
Typically coming out of it.
Haas is blocked. Gets it back. And a reach-in foul. And Haas is frustrated. Now he got hit on the initial move to the basket.
He did.
Didn't get the call, but he gets this one. The reach-in on Ary-Turner.
The officials aren't going to give them that in the last 4 minutes of the game unless he's right at the rim. And he was going laterally away from the rim. They're not going to give him that call, but he did get slapped in the head after.
TJ gets the first. He's got 16. Bryant will check in with those 4 fouls. Hartnett comes out for the moment. TJ rattles them both in.
2 big free throws there.
Back to a 4-point lead. Richardson waits for Harding. Here he is. Cannons now dealing with Harding with Hartnett out.
The difference with BYU defensively on Harding now is that they've got a lot better help.
Baker, shot clock under 10. Challenging Bryant. Baker puts it in.
He's really stepped up as well. Big basket into the shot clock.
11 for Baker. He's got 25 on the week. Haas saves a turnover.
That was a really acrobatic, athletic move to save that ball, hurdling the official.
BYU in a close game on the road against UMass. They pulled it out. We'll see if that helps them here. Haas buries a big-time 3. He's got 20.
Big-time 3. I thought they might go for an isolation with Elijah again or Yoli inside, but that was huge.
Lead back to 5. Now Harding. Foul on Cannon. And that's the first on Cannon. So this is Baker a moment ago.
Great finish at the rim. Overplayed, trying to double the ball. They'll look at that film and go, why did you leave him? Why did you leave that shooter who had 18 or 17 points at the time?
Harding at the line, 90% free throw shooter on the season. His first free throw tonight.
That's hard to believe. The problem is, in most cases, he's made the baskets at the rim and officials haven't called the little bumps and nicks. He's had a big night.
Closing in on a career high. Came in with a career high of 31. Now he's sitting at 27.
Still a one-possession game.
There's Cannon, the former Wildcat, taking on his old team as Haas nearly turns it over. Good defense by Richardson.
We were doing a nice job fronting and backing Yoli.
Childs with the foul. He'll go to the line.
Great pass.
Got him.
Great pass. Defender turned his head, and that ball just whipped right by his ear. That would have been a nice and one if he could have finished it.
Second foul on Kozak. Sends Yoli to the line where he is 1 for 2. 1 for 4. Correction, he's had a tough night all over the place. 4 of 10 from the field. 1 for 4 from the line. He's got 9 rebounds, but these are the biggest free throws of the night for Childs. Now a double digits. 5 Cougars now in double figures. Yoli with 10. He stays at 10. 4-point game.
Big possession here for Weber State. Keep it to a one-possession game.
Kozak hands it to Richardson. 3-point shot. Childs way up there.
Rebound there. That was a good look. Richardson had a good look.
Double-double for Yoli Childs now with 10 rebounds and 10 points.
Really important Weber State here. Try to get a stop.
Sellius waits for Bryant. Minute 45 to go. In the corner. Cannon for 3. That's short. Richardson brings it out for Weber State. Maneuvers down the floor. Hands it to Baker. Minute 30 to go here on BYU TV. Baker all the way in. Off the glass.
That could have easily been an and one.
13 for Baker. It's a 2-point game.
You've got 3 different schools rooting for Weber State right now. Weber, Utah.
Expect nothing less.
State, exactly. This all of a sudden is becoming a home court advantage for Weber State.
Bryant back to Childs. Working Kozak. Yoli leaves it short. Kozak on the rebound. 1 minute to go.
One possession game. We'll get a timeout.
Timeout, Randy Ray. 53 seconds to go. And the Weber State faithful, along with some converts.
That is one acrobatic move from a young man that's not really a great athlete. If BYU wins this game, it's going to be, next week's going to be a great opportunity to really get into these guys and kind of a wake-up call. You'd rather teach those lessons after a win than a loss.
All right, here we go. 53 seconds to play. Baker picked up by Bryant. Bryant with 4 fouls. Trying to get it back to Baker, but Cannon denies him. Shot clock's at 8. Baker's going to have to call his own number. On the drive. Blocked by Childs. Bryant's got it. What a play by Yoli Childs. Randy Ray's calling for a foul. Nobody looking over, and now Baker sees him, but they lost about 15 seconds. And with 25 seconds to go, Bryant's going to the free throw line.
Well, defensively, they did a nice job. This is a tough shot. He had no chance of scoring in there. But they ran a set. Here he goes. Got 2 defenders on him. Just too difficult of a play for him to make. Weber State had run a set, and it broke down, and Harding wasn't open. Harding needed to immediately come get the ball on a handoff and get it back in his hands.
Credit to Cannon defensively for taking Harding out of that play.
Yeah. Now
it is Bryant at the line. BYU's lead is 3 with 25 seconds to go. Hartnett's in, and Sellius will step out for the moment.
Hartnett's been really solid tonight.
12 points for Elijah Bryant.
You've got your best defensive team out there.
Eli gets them both. Now the BYU faithful make a little more noise as they've been challenged here in the arena. 4-point game. Harding all the way in, gets the whistle, can't finish the shot.
Exactly
He'll
what
go to the line.
Just take it to the rim. You're going to get a call in that situation.
Yoli Childs picks up the personal, or is it Cannon?
It's Cannon.
It's Cannon. That's his second, and that puts Harding back at the line with 19.9 seconds to go. Harding with 27 points. Now it's a one-possession game.
Randy's really developed some point guards in this program. Senlin recently just graduated. Damon Lilliard. This young man's going to be really special as well.
Gets them both. Timeout Weber State. 70-68 with 19.9 seconds to go. Close win at Princeton. One on the neutral floor against UMass. We'll see how that's prepared them now for the final 19 seconds here at Vivint Arena. Bryant's going to throw it in. A whistle before the ball even gets there. Haas is going to go down to the free throw line. I'm surprised any time went off the clock. But 3/10 did go off. They may put it back on. Yeah, they are. That foul came before any time expired.
He blew the whistle when the ball was in the air. I mean, he hadn't even touched anybody's hands.
There's the foul.
Foul right there.
So that sends TJ to the line 85%. If there's anybody BYU wants to the free throw line in the last 30 seconds, it's TJ Haas or Elijah Bryant.
Exactly. And the ball's going to be in one of the two players' hands.
Cannon's a really good free throw shooter. We just haven't seen him shooting free throws in this kind of circumstance. Weber State has, but BYU is not. So they're going to fix that back and put 19.9 seconds on the clock in a 2-point game. And the officials are back over here looking at the monitor. They can't put any more than 3/10 back on.
They can't.
That they and now the officials are looking over here, and I'm not sure we can show them from our monitor. Here they'll take a look at our BYU TV monitor. We'll try to show them again. There they are taking a look. Now let's see if we can give them the play. Here it is. So the foul was called right here. Richardson is obsessed with the foul, and this is with the clock. So the foul came before the ball got into the hands of TJ. Richardson picks up the foul, and TJ's heading to the free throw line. That's the third foul on Richardson.
You're right about the 3 wins on the road for BYU. Those experiences pay you big dividends, whether it's a neutral court on the road or on the road.
Free throw from Haas, good. It's a 3-point game. Season high for TJ, 21. Just days off his old season high of 20 against Illinois State. Gets them both. 4-point game.
Well, you know that Harding is going to try to attack this thing, but there's going to be a lot of help this time.
Harding around his back, into the lane. Loses it out of bounds. Randy Ray wants it touched by a Cougar.
We got there. I don't think
12.3 seconds to go.
Let's take a look at it here.
And it looks like it's off of Harding.
It does look like it's off Harding.
And the officials are going to take a look just to make sure, so it'll come over by us. And let's give them the look as Randy Ray protests, and here it is.
I think Randy's as upset about the no call as he is with the ball. That's what he's upset about.
Harding,
because he definitely got a piece of his arm. That's where he's upset.
It will be BYU basketball.
Because that was a foul. That was a foul. And that's what Randy's upset about. He grabbed his arm.
Eli will throw the ball back in. 12.3 to go.
Gonna have immediate foul again.
Haas comes and gets it. And ary-Turner reaches in and fouls him. So TJ's going back to the line. Randy Ray still pleading his case.
No, he just came up and said to him, it was a foul. We missed it. That's not what a coach wants to hear, especially in a 2 4-point game.
Doesn't want to see TJ Haas at the free throw line either. Haas is 4 for 4 tonight. And it gets the first.
Well, BYU looks like they'll probably finish this thing off. I think Weaver's going to come down. They're going to have to take a 3 and call timeout if they do knock it down.
Gets the second. 74-68. 24 points for TJ Haas. 6-point BYU lead. Baker has it taken away by Haas. Hartnett's got it. And BYU's going to get out of town with their 8th win of the season. 74-68. An impressive fight by the undermanned Wildcats, playing without Burkott Chapman and Zach Braxton. And a gutsy